Good morning. Welcome to All Levels Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. You're in a comfortable seat. You'll need your usual 2 blocks and a strap or makeshift props like that. We've been talking about brahmacharya, which is the 4th yama or ethical principle within the first of 8 limbs of yoga. And if you'll remember, brahmacharya is translated as to walk in the path towards God consciousness or the infinite or totality. And it's a practice itself is that of moderation and being mindful of how we expend our energy, how we harness it, and what we give our attention or resources. So I found an article in Art of Living written by Sejal Shah, and she talks about 5 ways that modern yoga practitioners can cultivate brahmacharya. She says 1 is to have a bigger vision for life, undertake service-oriented, creative endeavors, study wisdom teachings, seek the company of awakened beings or those on the path of consciousness, fall in love with the divine, with source, with universe at large through bhakti yoga, which is yoga of devotion, and selflessly helping others. The second is to set an intention for brahmacharya and then surrender that intention. Of course, doing the work that we just mentioned, but also having a sense of letting go. Bring it to a higher force. The third is to let it happen. Brahmacharya can sound like so much restraint. In fact, she talks about the attitude of being natural, not suppressing or repressing desires, and really just being sincere with your intent and reverent. And the fourth, the last, is to have a dedicated practice of asana, that's physical yoga postures, pranayama, that's breath work, and meditation, as it creates a strong foundation for brahmacharya to grow. And these practices increase awareness, they relax the nervous system, as you know, they reduce susceptibility to excitability and arousal, enabling us, and these, which are energy channels. And this also helps to separate your emotions from your thoughts, releasing control of your emotions, they have over the autonomic nervous system, the endocrine glands, and hormonal activities. And in this state, our sensual impulses have far less control over us. Oh, there is one more. Number 5, avoid excess. Culture your senses by refraining from meaningless extravagances that deplete your energy and distract your mind. So all of that boils down to what the Yoga Sutra says about the practice of brahmacharya. Being established in infinite nature, great vigor is gained. So ultimately, all this sort of moderation is that to streamline our focus we were talking about yesterday and bring even more power to that we want in this union. So as we sit here now, maybe even turning your attention inward more easily by closing your eyes, allow a moment to check in. You may start with your physical body, notice its posture, its sensations, revealing to you how you've been using your energy as it shows with your body. Feeling the quality of your breath just as it is without even trying to change your breathing. Let that be another signifier of how you've been extending your energy. Notice its effect on your breathing. And the activity of your mind. Is there a sense of calm? Is there an overlapping busyness? Again, the effect of how you've been expending your energy. And helping us to direct more attention inward and sort of that harnessing pure energy. We're going to begin a breath work, but before that, let's just take a few deep breaths in through the nose. Clearing exhales through the mouth. Even slower, in through the nose. Even longer through the mouth. Couple more times on your own. And now, if it's feasible for you, continue to just breathe through your nose. So the mouth is closed. A full expansion in your belly and lungs. Imagine as though that area was like a balloon. You're expanding it deeply as you inhale, and you're emptying it completely as you exhale. Constant cleansing of the lungs with each breath. So the breath work we're going to practice is bellows breath. Really great for cleansing the lungs, enlivening energy, but also streamlining the focus. It's called Bhastrika Pranayama in Sanskrit. So breathe equally in and out through the nose, mouth closed. And we focus on expanding the belly and lungs completely with each in-breath, clearing it out with each out-breath. And it's rhythmic like this. If you think of the bellow, it's like an accordion. So that's what's happening inside. And then there's some arm movements to go with it. If you want to add that, you begin with your elbows bent, your hands like fists. Spine is long, shoulders are relaxed. As you breathe in, you raise your arms straight up, spread your fingers wide, and as you breathe out, you bend your elbows and fist your hands like this. You're gonna get into a rhythm at your pace for 1 minute. Prepare to start. Ready? Begin. And relax. Now just breathe naturally for a moment, maybe keeping your eyes closed as you come to lie down on your back with one block next to you. And as you're lying on your back, bend your knees apart, separate your feet on the ground wider than hips width. Then drop your knees together to touch, resting your left hand on the center of your chest and your right hand on your lower abdomen. Let your shoulders soften away from your neck and down your back. Just pause here to observe how you're feeling now. As you continue to breathe just through your nose, let Let's continue to warm up the body and help to focus the mind with Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing. And we do that by softly constricting the back of your throat as you sustain your breath equally in and out through your nose, thereby creating a gentle whispering sound that allows you to pay attention to the way that you're breathing, so that if you hear your breath feels disturbed, sounds choppy, it's your body signifying for you to slow down or perhaps take a less intense variation of a pose, knowing you can always rest, pause whenever needed. As you practice brahmacharya, finding that balance of effort and ease. And if you like, set your intention or dedicate your practice. Draw your bent knees towards your chest, catching hold of them with your hands. Begin to rotate your thighs in opposite directions, breathing in, breathing out. And just gently circling the legs, switching it up. Also helping to loosen the lower back and the hips. And again, switch directions. Then bending your knees right above your hips. Parallel your shins to the floor with your feet together, knees together, like you're sitting in a chair. Either point or flex your feet so your legs feel alive, the muscles are active. Then, as though you were sitting in a chair, place your hands in your lap. Feel the space between the ground and your lower back. For most of us, there's a curvature there. Let's decrease that space by firming the abdomen inward without eliminating the space. You want to still have a curvature in your lower back, but just a little less. Drawing your tailbone slightly towards the front of your mat through that contraction of the abdomen. Now with your palms in your lap, begin to push away your thighs as your thighs resist back against your hands, thereby feeling even more engagement in your deep lower belly, transverse abdomen. We're going to be here for about 20 more seconds. Out through the nose. Actively pressing your thighs forward as your thighs resist against your palms. But energy, feel that engagement in your lower abdomen more strongly. When we're in plank, walking or jumping forward from downward dog to stand at the top of your mat. All right, so extend your legs straight up. Now, if you were flexing your feet, point your toes just to get the opposite, and then vice versa. Reach your arms towards the sky and interlace your fingers except your index. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, contract your belly and lift your head and shoulders, twisting to your right so that your left forearm presses against your outer right thigh and you're pointing your index fingers towards the front right corner of your room. Now, if your neck needs support, use your right palm again behind your skull like a gentle pillow. Inhale, slowly lower your left leg forward to hover your heel just about 2 inches off the ground. Exhale, very slowly lift the leg again. So we've got 4 more slow and controlled movements rather than swinging with momentum. Inhale, lower, left leg. Exhale, lift, left leg. All the while you want to feel a spiraling action in your torso. Inhale, lower. As you're reaching actively towards the upper right corner of your room, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Feel conservation of energy in your face. There's no added tension in your eyes. Inhale, lower. And exhale, lift. Lower your head and shoulders, bend your knees wide apart into happy baby pose, taking one deep breath into the nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue as you breathe out, lion's breath. Extend your legs straight up, point or flex your toes, whichever. Interlace your fingers, except your index. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, contract your belly, lift your head and shoulders and twist to your left. So your right forearm is pressing against your left outer thigh and you're reaching the index fingers towards the upper left corner of your room. Now, if your neck needs support, place your left palm behind your skull. Inhale, slowly lower your right leg forward, hovering the heel about 2 inches off the floor. Exhale as you contract the belly, slowly lift the right leg to meet the left. 4 more. Inhale, lower. Feel the spiraling action of your torso. Exhale, lift. Listen to the gentle whisper of your breath. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Reaching your index towards upper left corner. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Now from here, one more time, happy baby pose. Draw the knees towards the outsides of your shoulders. Plug your tailbone into the ground. One deep lion's breath. Inhale fully. Open your eyes and mouth wide. Stick out your tongue, maybe cross your eyes. Then set your 2 feet on the ground. Grab your block. And now choose whether to place it under your sacrum at the lowest height or the second level. And you might bend one knee to your chest just to feel how that is, and then adjust to the height of the block that you would like to feel that stretch in your hip flexors. Make sure the block is just under the flat part of your lower back. You can stably rest on it. And then let's bend the right knee into your chest, catching hold of your thigh or your shin as you plug your shoulders into the ground and lengthen your neck. Still steadying your breathing, begin to slide your left heel forward onto the ground. As you flex your left foot, press the big toe mound towards your front wall. Now only straightening the left leg to the capacity where you're not straining. Spiral your inner left thigh slightly towards the floor to prevent your left leg from turning out. Breathe in. As you breathe out, see if you can draw your right leg even closer to your right ribs. If you want to give your right ankle some stretch, you can circle your right foot in both directions as we're here for only 3 more breaths. Bending your left knee, set your left foot on the ground, step your right foot on the ground, and let's switch. Hugging your left thigh or shin, flex your right foot and slide your right heel forward, pressing the mound of your right big toe towards your front wall. You want to feel a lengthening in your lower spine here, as though your tailbone was actively reaching for your inner right heel. Breathe in. Exhale, see if you can draw your left leg even closer to your left ribs. Another 3 breaths, and you might want to circle your left foot both directions. And bending your right knee, set your right foot on the ground, set your left foot on the ground, and let's remove the block from underneath, drawing both bent knees into your chest. From there, begin to rock and roll forward and back several times to build momentum and to massage up and down your back so that you can eventually rise onto all fours, your hands and knees. Once there, set up for cat-cow, so your wrists are right under your shoulders, your knees are a couple inches behind your hips. If you want to give your inner wrists a stretch, Spin out your hands so your fingertips face the outsides or the rear edge of your mat. Now as you breathe in, slowly glide your chest through your upper arms, then coil it up as you slide your shoulders. Cow pose. As you breathe out, hollow your belly, bowing your head to round into cat pose. At your own pace of breath, try at least 4 more cycles, inhaling to cow as you look up. Exhaling to cat as you round the back. On your next exhalation, make your way into downward facing dog, where you might spend the first few breaths shifting around in your own way. Lifting your hips high, spreading your fingers wide and flat on the floor, pointing your index fingers straight ahead so they're parallel to each other. Prepare to hold still for about 5 breaths in downward dog. See that your feet are hips distance apart, parallel. You can bend your knees any amount to find the fullest length of your spine, feeling as if you have a flat back. As you root down through your palms, let that energy help lift your shoulders away from your neck. Lift your hips towards your rear wall. As you gaze at the ground towards your feet, firm your belly in and press the front of your thighs back. 2 more breaths. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keeping your 2 hips leveled, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your right knee slowly towards your nose, rounding forward to stack your shoulders over your wrists. Very quietly land your right foot inside of your right hand and lower your back knee, untuck the toes. With your legs hips width apart, press down to your right foot and lift your arms overhead to rise in a kneeling lunge or Anjaneyasana. So here you're bending your right knee directly over the heel. Draw your right outer hip slightly back and allow your left outer hip to rotate slightly forward. Without letting your belly collapse onto your front thigh, think of lifting your frontal hip bones slightly towards your lowest front ribs. Last 3 breaths. As you lower your fingertips to frame your right leg, you might want to place your hands on blocks. We're coming into half split. Curl up your right toes, flex the foot, draw your right thigh bone back, extend your chest forward, and as you're straightening your right leg, bow to the inside of it. Ardha Hanumanasana. 4 more breaths. Bending your right knee, tuck your back toes, step into plank pose to hold for 5 breaths. Shoulders stacking right over wrists. You can have your legs straight or lower your knees for added support. Lift your lower belly. Remember that activation we practiced when you were lying on your back, pressing your thighs away? Feel that here as you draw your chest through your upper arms. 1 last breath in. Exhale, lift your tailbone. Downward facing dog. Keeping your hips leveled, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, round forward, hollowing your belly like cat pose. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Very gently land your left foot just inside of your left hand. Lower your right knee and untuck the toes. Root down to your left foot, sweep your arms overhead to rise. Anjaneyasana. So as you're bending your front knee just over the heel, Draw your left outer hip back. Rotate your right outer hip slightly forward. And feel that lift of your frontal hip bones. Let's take another 3 deep breaths here. Lower your fingertips to frame your left leg, perhaps using blocks. Curl up your left toes as you flex the foot and scissor your left hip back while drawing your chest forward to fold. Half split. In each posture, notice the activity of your eyes. As you bring intention even to where you direct your eyes, that's another way of streamlining your focus. Being intentional with your energy, what you attend to. In yoga, that's called your gaze or your drishti. Bending your left knee, tuck your right toes. Again, step back to plank, and we're gonna switch it up. This time, have your legs straight, bring your feet together to touch, lower onto your forearms so that your elbows are directly under your shoulders. You could parallel your forearms or interlace your fingers. Draw your chest forward. You've got about 4 more breaths here, and gaze just past your hands. Feel your shoulder blades broaden across your back ribs as you slightly lift the space between them. Lift your lower belly and firm your heels back. Feel your quadriceps alive, engaged. 1 more breath in. As you exhale, lower to Sphinx pose. Legs on the floor, forearms parallel. Pointing your toes back. About 3 more breaths here. So without actually moving your elbows, imagine as if you're dragging them towards your hips. So you want to feel that sense of pulling your chest forward and melting your shoulder blades down your back. Without cranking your neck, your gaze is just ahead of your hands on the floor. Sliding your hands back, let your wrists meet your floating ribs. Bend your elbows close to your sides and tuck your toes. Pressing your heels back so much, let your knees lift off the floor. Lift your shoulder heads away from the ground. Take a deep breath in, gaze forward on the floor. Exhale, press up into plank pose. You could use your knees on the floor if needed. Engaging your belly, lift your hips back. Downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths. So yesterday we practiced the classical version of Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. Let's break that down before we flow through it continuously. With bent knees, look ahead of your hands. At the end of your exhale, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. With feet touching, arrive at a forward fold. Press the ground or your shins ahead. Inhale, lift your chest and lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Remember, you always have the option to bend your knees so you're not straining your back. Press to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms to rise all the way up. Let your palms meet as you gaze up. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward, mountain pose. So at the top of Sun Salutation B, bend your knees together to touch and inhale, sit into chair pose for a few breaths. As you raise your arms, draw your shoulders down and open your chest. As you drop your tailbone behind you, hug in your front ribs and glide your shin bones back. With an exhale, shift your weight forward to fold. Press the ground of your legs. Inhale, rise halfway up. Step into your version of plank. As you're exhaling, glide a foot forward of your wrists. Bend your elbows to hug your side ribs through Chaturanga Dandasana. Let's all come all the way down for this one. Point your toes on the earth. Inhale into Cobra, Bhujangasana. Tuck your toes, press through plank. Lifting your pelvis to downward facing dog. So here's where the classical version is different. With your feet hips width apart, turn out your left foot, pressing the heel into the midline of your mat. Bend your right knee towards your nose, stepping your right foot lightly just inside of your right hand. With both soles of your feet grounded and both hips facing forward, press down through your feet to rise up into Warrior One. As you steady your gaze ahead or overhead, maybe the palms touching, arms straight, shoulders relaxed. Bend your front knee just over the ankle and scissor your right hip back. Completely straighten your left leg and turn your left hip forward. Take another breath in. Exhale all the way through plank, through Chaturanga Dandasana. This time, either into Cobra or from Chaturanga, flip your toes into Upward Facing Dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, lift to your belly to arrive at Downward Dog. So again, feet are hips width apart. Turn out your right foot and drop your right heel onto the midline of your mat. Bend your left knee towards your nose to softly step the foot just inside of your left hand. With both heels grounded, both hips facing forward. Press down to your feet and inhale, rise. Virabhadrasana 1. Right away when you land in a posture, direct your gaze, your drishti. Oftentimes it's towards the tip of your nose if you're not sure where to look. So palms might be touching as long as arms are straight and shoulders are relaxed. Hips are squared forward, back leg is straight, front knee is bent right over the heel. Take another breath in. Use the whole exhalation to lower through Chaturanga Dandasana, choosing either Cobra or Upward Facing Dog as you breathe in. Lift through your abdomen into Downward Facing Dog. As you steady your gaze, let your body be still, 3 to 5 cycles of breath. Preparing, bend your knees, look past your hands. At the end of your out breath, walk or float to the top. Feet touching. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, fold. Knees touching. Inhale, sit back into chair pose. Press through your feet to exhale, rise up into mountain. So that's a full cycle of sun salutation, the traditional way. So let's try 2 in a row, continuous flow. Remember that the quality of your breath is most important. So if you need to slow down or you need to adjust the pose, do what you need to have a consistent, balanced flow of breath. Let's start with 1 breath here. Inhale and exhale. Bending your knees, inhale into chair. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, rise halfway. Step into plank or lightly jump into Chaturanga, exhaling down. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Dog. Exhale, Downward Dog. Turn out your left foot, bend your right knee towards your nose. Right foot steps forward. Inhale, rise, Warrior One. Exhale through plank and Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Dog. Exhale, Downward Dog. Turn out your right foot, bend left knee towards nose, stepping left foot forward. Inhale, rise, Warrior One. Exhale, plank, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Upward. Exhale, downward for 3 to 5 breaths. Steady your gaze. Bending your knees, inhale, look forward to prepare. At the end of your exhale, lightly land your feet together at the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit into chair pose. Exhale, rise up. One more round, Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half fold. Step or float back as you breathe out. Inhale, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha, left heel to the ground, right knee to nose, stepping the right foot forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Breathe in, Cobra or upward. Breathe out, downward. Turn out your right foot, left knee to nose, step the left foot forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower, Chaturanga. Inhale, the heart lifts. Exhale to arrive at downward dog. 3 to 5 breaths here. As you observe the way you're breathing now, notice what you may need to return to a state of balance if you're feeling off balance in some way. If the breath is really choppy or you feel stagnant of some kind. All right, let's prepare. Bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of your exhale, walk or float. Inhale, lift your heart, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, inhale, chair pose. Stay in chair, cactus, bend your elbows apart for eagle. Cross your right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. Shoulder blades down your back, forearms pressing forward. Shift your weight onto your right foot and turn out your left leg. Flex your left foot and wrap your left leg as much as you can over the right. If you can reach, tuck your left toes behind your right calf and scissor your left hip slightly back. Let's see if you could sit a little lower. Spine tall, gaze steady, breath balanced. We're slowly going to rise to stand on your right foot, bending your left knee to hug your right knee. So as you stand, bring your right hand to your right hip, back stroke your left arm to catch hold of your inner left ankle or foot. Now, if that's not reachable, catch hold of what you can, and then draw your tailbone downward towards your inner right heel. Let your left hip continue to face forward as you begin to kick your left leg towards straight, as if entering Warrior 3. Raising your right arm up, coil your chest up. Feel your breath here. In Natarajasana, dancer pose. Now we're going to slowly step the left foot back, entering a shorter stance of Warrior 1. So stepping your left foot to the ground with heel down, bring your hands to your hips. So feet are about hips width apart, both heels are grounded, both hips are facing forward, but legs are straight. We're going to prepare for revolved triangle pose. So if you want to have a block or two for more options, you can place the blocks to frame your front ankle. Now with the help of your right hand on your right hip, slightly drawing right hip back to keep both hip bones facing forward, raise your left arm and ground to your feet. Spread your toes, activate your legs. Breathe in and lift your chest. Breathe out and fold about parallel to the floor. Now keep tracing the midline of your mat with your spine and lower your left hand on the inside, the left side of your right foot. That's a good place to start. Or if you're looking for a deeper challenge, or you can step your left hand on the right side of your right foot. Keep your two hips leveled and begin to twist turning your chest to the right. Raise your right arm up so your palm faces your right wall. Breathe in, feel the stability of your legs as you reach the crown of your head forward. Breathe out, twist a little more, stacking your wrists and shoulders. Parita Trikonasana. Now look down at your right foot, lower your hands to frame it. Step your left foot next to the right into a forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees together, inhale into chair. Staying here for eagle. Cactus, bend your elbows apart. Cross your left elbow over the right. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. As your shoulders descend, lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders and press your forearms gently away from your face. Shifting your weight onto your left foot, turn your right leg and flex your right foot as you wrap the right leg over the left as much as you can. If you can tuck your right toes behind your left calf, scissor your right hip back a bit so your two hips are evenly facing forward again. And see if you can sit a little lower, keeping your spine upright. A few more breaths in Garudasana. Another physical benefit of this posture is right now it's like a tourniquet, kind of compressing blood flow into certain areas, and then when we come out of it, a rush of refreshing blood flow enters your joints like your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your elbows. We're gonna rise to stand just on your left foot, bending your right knee to kiss your left knee. So as you slowly unwind the arms, bring your left hand to your left hip and backstroke your right arm to catch your right ankle or foot. Aim to hold the inner side if possible. Draw your tailbone towards your inner left heel and try to keep your right hip facing forward as you begin to kick your right leg back towards Warrior 3, lifting your left arm, coiling your chest open. You counter forces of kicking your right leg back and pulling your right foot towards you to sustain your balance. Dancer pose, Natarajasana. We're going to slowly step the right foot behind you towards a shorter version of Warrior 1. So the right heel is flat on the ground. Feet are about hips width apart, but legs are straight. So hips facing forward. You may want to arrange your blocks for the twist in case you might want to use them. Framing your left ankle. Use your left hand to draw your left hip slightly back. Right arm up. Ground to your feet. Inhale, look up. Lift your chest. Exhale, hug in your belly as you bow just parallel to the floor. With hips staying square, lower your right hand either on the right side of your front ankle, good place to start, or on the left side of your front ankle if you want to explore more challenge. From down through your back heel and lengthen the crown of your head towards your front wall. As you exhale, twist, turning your chest to the left. Raise your left arm up. Open the front of your left shoulder. Parita Trikonasana. Revolved triangle pose. Let's take one more deep breath here. Look down at your left foot, and this time, let's step back into downward facing dog. A few breaths in downward dog. Bring your attention to how you're creating space in your neck and shoulders. As your index fingers point forward parallel to each other, ground firmly between thumb and index while rotating your triceps towards the floor to broaden your shoulders. Lift your shoulder blades onto your back ribs. Keeping all of that, inhale, shift forward to plank. Now hug your outer hips towards your midline as you bring your feet to touch. Think of your left and right hips as two ends of a seesaw you want to maintain balance with. So firm the lower abdomen like we did in our very first exercise, and begin to lower your elbows to the ground, trying not to sway the hips. Try to have as little motion in the hips as you're lowering both elbows into forearm plank pose. If your mat is slippery, you might want to interlace your fingers. Rooting down through your forearms, draw your chest forward, shoulder blades back. Lifting your lower belly, firm your heels back. Entering dolphin pose. Walk your feet forward to lift your hips and press your chest towards your thighs. Feel the rooting down through your forearms and outer wrists to lift your shoulders and create as much space and lightness in your neck as possible. You might explore keeping your hips square, lifting one leg straight up and flexing the foot, maybe even coming up higher onto your toes of your standing foot. Just to feel that inversion of stacking the pelvis upside down a little more above your shoulders. What you do on one side, try it on the other, and whenever you're ready to rest, we'll meet in child's pose. Knees to the floor, feet together, knees together or apart. And perhaps give your shoulders some rest by just wrapping your arms down by your sides. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. Maybe clearing it out to your mouth or fluttering your lips. If there's any excess tension in your jaw. All right, so we've been playing these past several days with progression towards Shirshasana, classical headstand. Now, if you already have that practice in the middle of the room, feel free to come up on your own. If you prefer a different energizing inversion, you could choose to stay in downward dog or dolphin pose instead. Now, for those of you playing with a progression towards Shirshasana, headstand, come on up to your shins and extend your arms forward. Rotate your triceps down, plug your shoulder blades onto your back ribs, and interlace your fingers so that you coil your pinky fingers. Firmly root your elbows to the ground, shoulders width, and bring the top of your head to the floor so the back of your skull is lightly supported by the inner webbing of your palms. Remember, your weight is pressing down through your forearms to create space in your neck. Don't want to ever feel compression in your neck. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, then bring your feet together as you walk them closer to your elbows. Shoulders rising away from the neck, honoring the natural curve of your neck. Now you could lift one leg straight up and then switch just like we played in dolphin pose, or try bending your knees, engaging the lower abdomen that we were activating at the very beginning, transverse abdominis. And whether you keep your knees bent, because you're already in headstand if you're doing that, or straighten your legs, flex your feet and press your big toe mounds towards the sky as you spread your toes, lifting your tailbone towards your inner heels if legs are straight. You want to avoid what's called a banana back if your feet are completely off the ground, which is a swaying or over compression of the lower back causing the front ribs to protrude forward. Instead of that, you want to equally lengthen front and back of your spine. And after 5 breaths or so, in whatever inversion you're practicing, again, let's meet in child's pose. Balasana. Notice the quality of your breathing when you arrive to rest. You might think of your breath as an informant, and always use it to check in with how you are balancing your expenditure of energy. As you bring your hands to the floor alongside your knees, Inhale to slowly roll your spine upright as we prepare for 2 rounds of a heart-opening camel pose. If you have a block, please take the skinniest width of it and hug it in between your thighs. Coming to stand on your knees, tuck your toes behind you. Place your hands on your lower back with your fingertips face down. Drawing your tailbone towards the ground between your knees, keep your pelvis stacked directly above your knees the whole pose. Now, as you lift your back ribs, feel the lengthening of your lower spine as you firm your belly towards it. Bend your elbows closer together. Draw the fronts of your shoulder heads back and take a deep breath to float your chest up, beginning to gaze up. Slide your shoulder blades down your back and you're in it. Now you could explore catching hold of one heel with one hand and holding it like a baseball, and then switching hands. Or both hands, as long as your hips can stay forward, stacking your pelvis above your knees. You don't want to feel any pain or strain in your lower back here. If so, you might come up a little higher, back off a bit. Know that we have 1 round after this. So when you feel ready to come out, with your hands on your lower back, contract your belly and slowly roll your spine upright to sit either on the block between your ankles or on your calves, maybe resting your palms at your heart center for 3 breaths. So in conserving our energy and practicing brahmacharya, we're streamlining our focus for what we truly intend to cultivate in our and contribute in this world. So as we practice this heart opener, you might keep that seed thought in mind. What is it that you are streamlining your focus for? What is it that you want to direct your energy towards? Let's take it one more time. Block between the thighs, hands in the lower back, perhaps even untuck your toes if you want to explore a little further. Coiling your chest up, your count of 5 or more deep breaths. We'll meet sitting down with hands on the heart, resting for a few breaths. So after some pretty deep back bends like Ustrasana or camel poses, a wonderful way to neutralize the spine is spinal twist. So let's come to sit with left leg forward. I'm going to mirror you here. Step your right foot either in front of the hip or cross it outside of your left knee. You might bend your left knee as well if you can keep your pelvis evenly grounded. Place your right hand on the floor behind your pelvis. Raise your left arm up. Press into the ground and lift up through your spine as you breathe in. To your right, exhale, twist. Lower your left hand onto your shin or hook your elbow outside of your thigh. Breathe in, a little taller through the spine. Breathe out, hollow your belly to deepen the twist. About 3 more breaths. The end of your exhale, unwind your spine. Extend your right leg forward, side 2. See if you can set up the same way, either foot in front of the hip or crossed outside of your knee, and maybe bend your bottom knee. Left hand behind your back, right arm up. Press downward to lift upward as you breathe in. Exhale, twist. Lowering your right hand on your shin or hooking your elbow outside your thigh. Lengthen as you inhale, twist as you exhale. The end of your exhale, unwind your spine. And let's bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana, a hip opener. Catching hold of your outer feet or your big toes, ground your sitting bones again to lift your spine tall as you breathe in. Exhale, hinge from your hips, little by little. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold some more. And you might want to walk your hands forward. Walking your hands towards you, begin to lift your chest. Inhale to rise up. We're going to practice a balancing breath work called Nadshodhana. So please find a comfortable seat for that, where you can support your spine to be comfortably upright. This is alternate nostril breathing. Resting your left hand in your lap, you may want to use the mudra for concentration, which is thumb and index finger to touch. With right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring finger. Relax your shoulders. You might eventually close your eyes and slow down your breathing, keeping it a soft quality just through your nose. So mouth is closed. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to your nose. Hold the breath out. With your right thumb, cover your right nostril. Inhale to your left. Hold the breath in. Cover the left nostril with the two fingers. Exhale to your right. Hold the breath out. Inhale through right. Hold it in. Cover right with thumb. Exhale left. Hold it out. Inhale left. Hold it in. Cover left. Exhale right. Hold it out. Inhale right. Hold it in. Cover right. Exhale left. Hold it out. Then relax. Breathing naturally, rest your hands in your lap. Tuning into any shift, any effect of your practice so far. And please lower your body to the ground for one last cooling posture before Shavasana. Whether you choose Happy Baby, or you really want to get in a shoulder stand, or you want a head start in Shavasana, or you can just come to rest already. Just about half a minute long in that posture of your choice. And as you're ready, carefully place your body in a position where you can just completely let go and feel supported to do so. You can close your eyes, release control of your breath too, and just be aware of what arises in the silence and the stillness. Shavasana. As you continue to rest just a little while longer in Shavasana, I wanted to share a recap of yesterday's Om chanting. So I explained a lot about the chant of Om, but basically it's the basic sound of the universe. Chanting it symbolically and physically tunes us into that sound and acknowledges our connection to everything in the world and the universe. And one of the ways to practice brahmacharya in terms of steadying the mind and streamlining its focus is through chanting, whether you do it silently in your head or out loud. I like out loud because you feel the physical vibration, which is very soothing for the nervous system too. So that's what I suggest. But of course, this is your meditation practice for those of you staying for the remainder of 5 minutes. Now please begin to shift your body so that you can gradually rise up if you are joining me for sitting meditation. We also used a mudra, a hand gesture that helps to stimulate vitality, and it's bringing, basically it's a peace sign. The index and middle fingers come together, but the palms are face up on your lap, and the thumbs are on top of the pinky and ring fingers. And you're resting them. Find a comfortable seat so you feel both alert and relaxed. So I'm going to be chanting out loud, and I actually changed the music to 435 hertz, which is that resonant sound that's within each part of the universe. So if you want to chant with me Om repeatedly, remember that it's Ah, U, with a silence at the end. I'm going to set the timer now, 5 minutes. Om.
Expanding your attention back to your body and the space around your body. Gently bring your palms to meet at your heart in this gesture of union. As yoga is defined, it's the practice of uniting all parts of ourselves, the light and the shadows, and streamlining our focus to that which we intend to create. Let's close. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.